Welcome to our channel Minutes Audiobook. Today we diving into How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie book. Please subscribe for daily videos. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is one of the most well-known self-help books ever published. First published in 1936, it is a guide to effective communication, building positive relationships, and influencing others in a constructive way. Below, I will summarize the chapters of the book with key points. The book has 4 parts with multiple chapters, and here is a concise summary of each. Introduction to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People was first published in 1936 and has since become one of the best-selling self-help books in history. The book's central theme is the power of effective communication, kindness, and understanding in building relationships and achieving success in both personal and professional life. Carnegie's approach is rooted in empathy and practical psychology, offering timeless advice on how to interact with others in a way that fosters goodwill, trust, and cooperation. In the introduction, Carnegie sets the stage by emphasizing the importance of human relationships in achieving success. He argues that technical expertise, intelligence, or formal education are not enough to succeed in life without the ability to connect with others and influence them positively. While many people struggle with personal relationships and social interactions, Carnegie's book provides a roadmap for overcoming these challenges and becoming a more likable and influential person. The book is divided into several sections that focus on different aspects of human interactions. These include fundamental techniques in handling people, ways to make people like you, strategies for persuading others to your point of view, and leadership skills for inspiring and influencing people without arousing resentment. Carnegie's approach is not about manipulation or using tricks to get people to do what you want, rather, it is about fostering genuine, respectful, and positive interactions that benefit everyone involved. He offers numerous real-life examples, anecdotes, and case studies throughout the book, illustrating the principles in action and demonstrating how they can be applied in various scenarios. Overall, How to Win Friends and Influence People provides readers with practical, actionable advice for improving their interpersonal skills, building meaningful relationships, and becoming more influential in their personal and professional lives. Its principles are not only helpful for those in business but for anyone who wants to connect with others in a meaningful and impactful way. Part 1. Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. Chapter 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. The first chapter discusses the importance of avoiding criticism, condemnation, or complaints when interacting with others. Carnegie argues that criticism often leads to resentment and defensive behavior, rather than helping the person improve. He emphasizes the importance of understanding human nature and dealing with others gently and with tact. Instead of criticizing, focus on offering constructive feedback. Chapter 2. The Big Secret of Dealing with People. This chapter introduces the idea of showing sincere appreciation. Carnegie emphasizes that everyone craves appreciation and recognition. People often respond more positively when they feel valued and respected. He also suggests giving honest and genuine compliments to others as a way to win their hearts and minds. Chapter 3. He who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. In this chapter, Carnegie suggests that the most effective way to win people over is to become genuinely interested in them. By focusing on the other person and taking a sincere interest in their lives, we can form deeper connections. Asking questions about the other person's interests and listening attentively shows them that we care, which makes them more open to us. Part 2. 6 Ways to Make People Like You. Chapter 1. Do this and you'll be welcome anywhere. This chapter highlights the power of a smile. Carnegie suggests that we should always greet people with a smile, as it conveys warmth and friendliness. It's a simple yet powerful gesture that makes others feel welcome and valued. Chapter 2. A Simple Way to Make a Good First Impression. The key to making a good first impression is to remember a person's name and use it frequently in conversation. Carnegie explains that a person's name is, to them, the sweetest sound. Addressing people by their names shows respect and makes the interaction feel more personal. Chapter 3, If you don't do this, you are headed for trouble. In this chapter, Carnegie advocates for becoming a good listener. People enjoy talking about themselves, and by listening attentively, you allow others to express themselves, which makes them feel important. To build rapport, let others do most of the talking. Chapter 4, An easy way to become a good conversationalist. To be a good conversationalist, Carnegie recommends talking in terms of the other person's interests. When you engage others in discussions that matter to them, they feel valued and appreciated. Asking open-ended questions about their hobbies or passions creates a natural flow in the conversation. Chapter 5, How to interest people. This chapter encourages readers to talk about what the other person is interested in. When you speak about topics that the other person is passionate about, they will naturally become more engaged in the conversation, and the interaction will be more pleasant for both parties. Chapter 6, How to make people like you instantly. Carnegie suggests that the easiest way to win others over is by showing genuine interest in them. When you make others feel like they are important and give them your full attention, they will reciprocate your warmth and kindness. Part 3, How to win people to your way of thinking. Chapter 1, You can't win an argument. This chapter teaches that arguments rarely lead to positive outcomes. Carnegie stresses that winning an argument often results in the other person losing face, which leads to resentment. Instead, he advocates for trying to see the issue from the other person's perspective and finding common ground. Chapter 2, A Sure Way of Making Enemies, and How to Avoid It. This chapter advises against telling people they are wrong directly. Instead, Carnegie recommends approaching disagreements with humility and avoiding confrontations. By being respectful and asking questions that prompt the other person to reconsider their position, you can influence them without causing resentment. Chapter 3, If you're wrong, admit it. Carnegie suggests that if you realize you are wrong in a situation, the best way to resolve it is to admit your mistake quickly and clearly. Doing so builds trust and disarms the other person, leading to better outcomes and relationships. Chapter 4, A Drop of Honey. This chapter emphasizes the power of tact and diplomacy. When you want to persuade someone, it's important to do so gently and in a way that appeals to their self-interest. Carnegie compares this to the way a drop of honey can catch more flies than a gallon of gall. Chapter 5, The Secret of Socrates. Carnegie explains the Socratic method of asking questions that lead the other person to discover the truth for themselves. This method helps avoid defensiveness and opens the door to cooperation. By asking open-ended questions, you help others come to their own conclusions in a way that respects their intelligence. Chapter 6, The Safety Valve in Handling Complaints. When faced with complaints, Carnegie recommends letting the person vent their frustrations without interrupting. People need to feel heard before they can be convinced of a better solution. Once they have expressed themselves, you can offer suggestions that show respect for their concerns. Chapter 7, How to Get Cooperation. Carnegie advises making the other person feel that the idea is theirs. People are more likely to cooperate when they believe they are part of the solution. He also recommends providing a compelling reason for people to follow your suggestion. Chapter 8, A Formula That Will Work Wonders for You. This chapter teaches the importance of offering praise and encouragement. Carnegie suggests finding something positive to say, even in difficult situations, and reinforcing the other person's good qualities. This approach encourages further positive behavior and strengthens relationships. Part 4, Be a Leader, How to Change People Without Giving Offense or Arousing Resentment. Chapter 1, If you must find fault, this is the way to begin. The best way to correct others is to begin with praise and appreciation. Carnegie advises against starting with criticism, as it puts the person on the defensive. Instead, acknowledge their positive qualities before gently pointing out areas for improvement. Chapter 2, How to Criticize. and not be hated for it. When offering criticism, it's important to be kind and respectful. Carnegie suggests that you criticize the behavior, not the person, and to provide specific feedback rather than making vague statements. Always give the person a way to improve. Chapter 3. Talk about your own mistakes first. If you need to point out mistakes to others, Carnegie advises first admitting your own faults. This approach makes others more receptive to feedback, as they don't feel singled out or criticized. It also shows humility and makes the interaction more collaborative. Chapter 4. No one likes to take orders. Instead of giving direct orders, Carnegie recommends asking questions that encourage cooperation. People are more willing to follow suggestions if they don't feel forced to do so. By involving them in the decision-making process, you empower them and gain their respect. Chapter 5. Let the other person save face. When dealing with difficult situations, it's important to protect the other person's dignity. Carnegie teaches that you should avoid embarrassing others or putting them in a position where they feel humiliated. Instead, offer them a way out of the situation with their pride intact. Chapter 6. How to spur people on to success. Encouraging others to reach their potential is about inspiring confidence. Carnegie suggests that you should offer sincere and specific praise for even small achievements. By recognizing their progress, you motivate them to continue striving for success. Chapter 7. Give a dog a good name. This chapter explains that by praising and encouraging people, you create an environment in which they can thrive. People tend to live up to the expectations others have of them. If you recognize their strengths and believe in their abilities, they will be more likely to succeed. Chapter 8. Make the fault seem easy to correct. To help others improve, Carnegie advises that you make their mistake seem easier to fix than they may actually be. By downplaying the difficulty of correction, you give people confidence and motivation to improve. Conclusion of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. In the conclusion of How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie reinforces the key ideas explored throughout the book, offering a final reminder of the power of positive interpersonal relationships and effective communication. He emphasizes that the principles shared in the book are not just strategies for personal gain but a guide to becoming a better, more empathetic person who can genuinely help others. Carnegie wraps up by stressing that the core of influencing people lies in treating them with respect, kindness, and appreciation. The real secret to success in both personal and professional relationships is the ability to understand others, make them feel important, and listen to their concerns. He encourages readers to apply the principles with sincerity and consistency, as genuine efforts to connect with others will always yield better results than manipulative tactics or superficial behavior. One of the central themes Carnegie revisits is the idea that people are motivated by their own desires, fears, and emotions. To influence others effectively, one must tap into those motivations by demonstrating empathy and showing genuine interest in others' lives. Acknowledging people's worth, offering praise, and focusing on their positive traits are simple but powerful tools for building strong relationships. Carnegie concludes by reminding readers that the principles of the book are not merely about winning others over but creating meaningful, mutually beneficial connections. He encourages a mindset shift, moving from self-centeredness to a more outward focus on others' needs and perspectives. By doing so, individuals not only improve their own lives but also contribute to a more harmonious and supportive society. Ultimately, How to Win Friends and Influence People serves as a timeless manual for fostering positive human connections, building trust, and inspiring collaboration. Carnegie leaves readers with the empowering idea that, by practicing kindness, understanding, and respect, anyone can create lasting relationships and leave a positive impact on the world around them. Thank you for watching. Keep support for daily videos. Make sure like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe our channel Minutes Audiobook.